Welcome back to Truevenge Chronicles, and hello to every viewer who found us today. Here we share revenge stories in clear English. Today's episode is called My Boss Mocked Me for Asking Questions. HR asked him one instead. It belongs to our new playlist, Boss, HR, Workplace Humiliation. You will hear how one meeting became public shame, how I stayed calm, and how one HR question flipped the table. If you love payback with proof, you will enjoy this one. Stay to the end for the twist. Sit down, relax, and enjoy the story of the day.
The laugh hit me like a slap. I was standing at the front of conference room C with a printed checklist, and my boss, Calvin Rourke, was grinning at me like I was a joke he could tell twice. "Adrian, do you have any more tiny questions?" he said loud enough for the whole floor to hear. "Or can the adults finish the meeting?" People chuckled. Someone snorted. My face burned, but I kept my voice steady. "I just want to be sure we're following the rollout steps." Calvin leaned back and spread his hands. He wants to be sure. Isn't that adorable? In that moment, I knew it was not only work, it was power, and Calvin wanted everyone to see he had it. My name is Adrian Solberg. I'm 34, and I live in Dublin, Ireland. I work as an operations analyst at Heroin Lane, a delivery tech company that links warehouses, drivers, and customers. Mistakes become disasters fast, so questions matter. I was hired because I asked them. Calvin hated that from day one. Calvin was 43 and always dressed like he was heading to a private club. He smiled while he cut people down. He arrived 6 months ago as director of operations and turned every meeting into a show. Praise him and you were a star. Question him and you were a problem. Around the table sat the people who should have been my team. Maya Sweeney, 28, was brilliant and nervous, always tapping her pen. Owen Blake, 31, laughed at Calvin's jokes like it was his job. Lorna Fitch, 39, was our project lead, smart and fast, but careful in a way that often looked like silence. That meeting was about a new vendor. We were rolling out a fast print label system across 5 warehouses. Calvin had pushed it hard to impress investors. The vendor was Brightbridge Systems. Rollout was set for Monday. It was Thursday afternoon. The timeline made my stomach tighten. I reviewed the rollout plan the night before and found gaps. The plan skipped the security review our policy required. It also skipped training for night shift workers who handled half our volume. So I wrote my questions and brought them in. Calvin clicked his remote. A slide flashed on the screen. "Brightbridge is plug and play," he announced. 2 days, 5 sites. Boom. Next question. I raised my hand. He rolled his eyes. "Yes, Adrian? Where's the security sign-off?" I asked. "And who approved skipping it?" The room went quiet. Calvin turned slowly, letting everyone watch him. He smiled. "Security sign-off. Sure. Anything else? Maybe a bedtime story too?" A few people laughed. I kept going because the risk was real. "Our policy says we need the review before we connect a device to our network," I said. "If we skip it and something goes wrong, it's on us." Calvin stood up and pointed at my checklist. "Adrian, you ask questions when the rest of us are trying to build," he said. He looked around the table. "Can we agree we don't need a hall monitor?" Owen laughed loud. Lorna stared at her laptop. No one defended me. "I'm not trying to block the rollout," I said. "I'm trying to protect it." Calvin made a show of thinking. "Protect it from what? Your imagination?" Then he said, "If you have real concerns, send them to me after the meeting, privately." The message was clear. Do not question him in public. The meeting moved on, but Calvin kept poking at me. When I asked about training, he said, "Adrian thinks drivers need hand-holding." When I asked who would handle support calls, he said, "Adrian wants a comfort plan." Each time, the room laughed a little. Maya kept her head down. After the meeting, people escaped fast. Maya slowed beside me in the hallway. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I lied. Owen brushed my shoulder as he passed. "Don't take it personal," he said. "Calvin just likes speed. Try to keep up." Back at my desk, I opened the vendor folder to calm myself with facts. Most of the paperwork was missing. No full contract, no security questionnaire, only a 1-page summary with Calvin's initials. The summary listed Brightbridge's billing address. I copied it into a search tab, It matched an office building in Docklands. The building's main tenant name online was Rourke Holdings. I tried to stay logical. Maybe Brightbridge rented a suite there. Still, it was odd. So I sent procurement one polite email. Can you confirm Brightbridge's legal entity name and address? I'm seeing a mismatch. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. Calvin's name lit up my screen. His voice was calm. Too calm. Adrian, why are you emailing procurement? I found a mismatch in the vendor details, I said. I'm just checking. He exhaled like I was a child. You are making us look messy, he said. Stop stirring. We roll out Monday. I'm not stirring, I said. It's compliance. His voice sharpened. Here's a question for you, he snapped. Do you want a feature here? The office noise around me faded, like someone turned down the volume. A future here. He was not asking about performance. He was asking if I would obey. I want us to do it right, I said. Calvin's tone dropped lower. Then do what I told you. No more emails, no more questions. So we just ignore the mismatch, I asked. You ignore it, he corrected. Do your checklist work and stay in your lane. Calvin, if this blows up, it won't, he cut in, because you will stop making it blow up. Then he added the final knife, soft and clean. People who slow down progress don't last here, Adrian. The line went dead. I stared at my phone and I understood something simple. Calvin was not afraid of my questions. He was afraid of where they might lead, and I decided I would not. Quick pause, friend. Are you enjoying the story so far? Be honest. What do you think about Calvin mocking me in front of the team just because I asked a simple work question? If you were in my shoes right now, would you stay quiet to protect your job? Or would you push back and risk everything? Tell me what you would do, because your answer matters. Also, how do you feel about Truevenge Chronicles so far? Does this kind of workplace justice story keep you locked in? If it does, please hit the subscribe button, press like, and share this video with someone who needs courage at work. Comment where you are watching from today and drop your best advice for me in the comments. I read the comments and I want to know if you think HR will help or protect Calvin today. All right, let's jump back in. My hands shook, but I forced them to move with purpose. Calvin had just threatened my job, and he had done it because I asked for basic facts. That told me two things. First, something about Brightbridge mattered more to him than our policies. Second, if anything went wrong, he would throw me under the bus and call it progress. I did not storm into his office. I did not shout in the open plan like a movie hero. I did what I always do when numbers don't match. I opened a fresh file on my laptop and named it Rollout Notes. I wrote the date, the meeting time, and the exact words Calvin used. I saved screenshots of the vendor folder showing missing documents. I saved my email to procurement and Calvin's reply. Then I forwarded both to my personal email in a calm, neutral way. Not to be dramatic, but because I had learned something over the years. If it is not written down, it did not happen. At least not in corporate memory. When my shift ended, I walked to the kitchen area for water. Owen was there, leaning against the counter like he owned the room. He lifted his mug at me. Still alive? I ignored the joke and filled my glass. You know Calvin's right, Owen said, lowering his voice. People like you slow things down. I looked him in the eye. People like me keep companies from getting sued. Owen laughed under his breath. Sure, just don't be shocked when you're not invited to the next big project. He walked off, smug, like he had just handed me wisdom. That night, I ate pasta straight from the pot and stared at my wall. My parents raised me to work hard and stay respectful. They also raised me to never let a bully rewrite reality. So I made a plan. Friday morning, I arrived early and checked the procurement system again. Brightbridge was still listed as approved, but the supporting documents were still missing. I opened the payment request. The bank account name was not Brightbridge Systems. It was Rourke Holdings Limited, not similar, not close, exact. My throat went dry. I did one more check. I searched our internal directory for Rourke Holdings. Nothing. No disclosed relationship. No conflict of interest form. No note. If Calvin owned the vendor or had family tied to it, that was a serious breach. At 10 a.m., Calvin held a quick stand-up in the main aisle. He talked about speed, courage, and being builders. Then he looked right at me and said, And some of us need to stop asking permission to succeed. A few people laughed again. I stood still and let him talk. The more he performed, the more he left a trail. After the stand-up, Maya messaged me. Can we talk? We met by the stairwell where the cameras were, but the noise was lower. Maya's hands were shaking. I think something's wrong, she whispered. I agree, I said. What did you see? She swallowed. Last night, I stayed late. I saw 2 Brightbridge boxes in Calvin's office. He told facilities to move them to the warehouse today. My stomach tightened. He's installing early. Maya nodded. He said IT is just paranoid. He laughed about it. I breathed in slow. Thank you for telling me. Maya looked scared. If he finds out, I told you. I'm done. I won't use your name, I promised. But you need to protect yourself too. Save anything you can. She nodded and hurried off like she had just confessed a crime. At lunch, I got a reply from procurement. It was short and careful. Adrian, vendor entity is under review. Please route questions to Director of Operations. In other words, they were backing away. Someone had already warned them. Calvin. That afternoon, IT security posted another alert. Unknown devices were attempting network handshakes at Warehouse 2. The message included the device model. It matched Brightbridge's model number from the vendor summary. My pulse spiked. I walked straight to Lorna's desk. We need to pause the rollout, I said. Devices are already connecting. That breaks policy. Lorna's eyes flicked to Calvin's office. Adrian, she said quietly, I know you care, but you're stepping on landmines. So we just let it happen, I asked. Lorna sighed. We let Calvin handle it. He is the landmine, I said before I could stop myself. Lorna went stiff. Watch your mouth. Then she lowered her voice. I'm not your enemy. I'm trying to keep you employed. I stared at her. In that moment, I understood her type. She was not cruel like Calvin. She was afraid, and fear was still a choice. By Friday evening, the office felt like a storm cloud. People were whispering. Calvin's door kept closing, then opening. Owen walked in and out, carrying papers like a loyal messenger. At 5:47 p.m., Calvin stepped into the aisle and clapped his hands. Great work this week, he announced. Big things happen Monday. His eyes landed on me. Try to bring fewer questions and more solutions. Wise is common more ACOR. The laugh he got was small, but it was enough. He walked away like a man who believed nothing could touch him. When I got home, I opened my laptop and built a clean timeline. I did not add feelings. I added facts. Meeting. Calvin mocked questions about security and training. Vendor folder. Missing required documents. Billing name. Rourke Holdings Limited. Threat call. Do you want a feature here? Security alerts. Unknown devices connecting before approval. I saved every screenshot with the time in the file name. Then I printed copies, because paper does not accidentally disappear from a shared drive. On Saturday, I met my friend Callum Reese for coffee near St. Stephen's Green. Callum was 35, a junior lawyer who handled employment disputes. He listened while I explained, then he leaned back and frowned. Adrian, this isn't only bullying, he said. If the vendor is tied to him and he hid it, that's misconduct. What should I do? I asked. Don't confront him alone, Callum said. Go through HR and bring documents. Keep your tone calm. Let them connect the dots. HR invited me to a compliance check-in on Monday, I said. Callum's eyes sharpened. That's not random. Someone is already worried. Your job is to be the steady voice with proof. I nodded, feeling a small piece of hope. Sunday night, I barely slept. I kept thinking about Monday, about Calvin smirking, about Owen laughing, about Maya shaking, about what would happen if the rollout caused a breach. If customer data leaked, the company could get fined and people could lose jobs. I did not want revenge for fun. I wanted the truth to land before the damage did. Monday morning, I arrived at 8:10. The office lights were still warming up, but Calvin's office was already lit. He was inside, on a call, smiling like it was a holiday. At 8:30, Lorna pulled me into a small meeting room. Part 2. Calvin walked into room 4B like he owned the air. Neve Keene sat with her notepad. Declan Varga from IT security was beside her, and Saoirse Whalen from internal audit had a laptop open. I had my folder in front of me and my heart was pounding, but my hands stayed still. "Morning," Calvin said, sliding into a chair. "Is this about Adrian's panic again?" Declan's tired eyes stayed on him. "This is about devices connecting to our network before approval." Calvin waved one hand. "They're label printers. We're moving fast." Nia's voice was calm. "Calvin, we invited Adrian because he raised process concerns. We will hear him, then we will hear you." Calvin smiled. "Sure, I love feedback." Niev nodded to me. "Adrian, explain what happened last Thursday." I told it in steps. I asked about security sign-off. Calvin mocked me in front of the team. I asked about night shift training. Calvin mocked me again. Then I explained the missing vendor documents and the billing name that did not match. I slid the screenshots across the table. Circe read quietly. Declan's jaw tightened when he saw the security alert. Niev asked, "Did Calvin tell you to stop asking questions?" "Yes," I said. "He called after I emailed procurement. He said I was making us look messy and asked if I wanted a future here." Calvin laughed. "He's sensitive." Niev did not laugh. "Calvin, did you say those words?" Calvin leaned back. "I said he should use channels. We can't have one analyst emailing everyone." Circe looked up. "Why is the vendor file missing required forms?" Calvin shrugged. "We don't drown in forms." Declan spoke, steady and firm. "Security review is not a form. It is protection." Calvin smirked. "Protection from what? A printer biting someone?" Declan did not move. "Any device can be a doorway. We saw handshake attempts at Warehouse 2 on Friday night. I saw Calvin's eyes flick, then return. Circe tapped the billing line. "Rourke Holdings Limited is listed on this request." "What is that?" Calvin's smile thinned. "Probably a typo." "It is in our system," Circe said. "Typos still matter if money moves." Calvin lifted both hands. "Okay, we'll tidy it." Neem's pen stopped. "Calvin, until we finish a review, the Brightbridge rollout is paused." Calvin's face flashed red, then he forced a grin. "Fine." Neem added, "Send all vendor selection documents by end of day. Adrian will send his notes. Declan will isolate devices. Circe will review payments." Calvin stood. "Great. Homework." As we walked out, he leaned close to me. "Nice stunt," he whispered. "Now you're a target." I kept my voice low. "I targeted a risk." His eyes sharpened. "Same thing." He walked away. Back at my desk, the office felt colder. Owen Blake rolled over in his chair and smirked. "So you called the teachers?" "Huh?" "I told the truth," I said. Owen shook his head. "Calvin hates snitches." At noon, an email went out from Neem. "Temporary pause on Brightbridge rollout. Pending review." No names, but everyone knew. Heads turned when I walked to the printer. Maya Sweeney avoided eye contact. Lorna Fitch kept typing like her keyboard was a shield. At 2:40 p.m., I tried to open the Brightbridge folder again. A red message flashed. Permission denied. My stomach dropped. Calvin was already trying to lock me out. I went straight to Declan's desk and showed him. Declan's face hardened. "That is not policy," he said. "I'll log it. Do you have copies?" I tapped my folder, printed, and backed up. Declan nodded once. "Good." When I left that evening, I saw Calvin in the lobby talking to senior leaders. One was Evelyn Markham, our COO. The other was Graham Kelleher, head of people. Calvin was smiling, selling a story. Evelyn looked past me like she had not decided yet. Calvin had started his version first. That night, I barely ate. Before I got to the lift, Lorna caught up with me. Her voice was low. "Adrian, what are you doing?" "Stopping a bad rollout," I said. She glanced around. "Calvin says you're blocking progress because you want attention." I almost laughed, but it came out as a breath. "I want the company to be safe." Lorna's eyes softened for a moment, then hardened again. "Please be careful. He picks a person, then he pushes until they break." "I won't break," I said. "You don't know that," she whispered. At home, I emailed Niev one more time. I kept it polite and short. I attached the screenshots showing the billing name and the folder lockout. I wrote, "I'm concerned about retaliation and missing documents. Please confirm receipt." She replied within 10 minutes. "Received. Thank you. Do not engage Calvin directly." That message helped me breathe. Someone official was now watching. I printed her reply and placed it in my folder, right behind my timeline, like armor. So I prepared more proof. Tuesday morning, Maya messaged me. Calvin asked me to write a statement saying, "You overreacted." I called her in the stairwell. "Maya, do not lie for him," I said. "Write what you saw, not what he wants." Her voice shook. "I'm scared." "I know," I said, "but if we bend now, we will bend forever." She went quiet, then whispered, "Okay." By lunch, Declan told me the device logs were worse than he first thought. The Brightbridge units tried to reach an outside server twice. It was blocked, but the attempt was there. Saoirse sent a short email too. "Payment trail needs immediate review." My hands felt cold, but my mind was clear. This was no longer about jokes. It was about safety and money. At 4 p.m., Niev sent a new calendar invite for Wednesday. Formal fact-finding. Attendees, me, Calvin, Declan, Saoirse, Evelyn, and Graham. 6 names. My stomach dropped. That room could save me or crush me. I went home, set my folder by the door, and tried to sleep. Quick break again before we push forward. Are you still with me? If this happened at your job, would you keep asking questions even when everyone laughs? Or would you stay quiet just to survive? Tell me what you would do right now if you were sitting in my chair with Calvin staring you down and your coworkers pretending they can't hear. Would you report him, collect more proof, or walk away and start over? I want your opinion. And how is Truevenge Chronicles treating you so far? Does this new playlist, boss, HR, workplace humiliation, feel like your kind of justice? If yes, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, and press like to help this story reach more people. Comment where you are watching from today, and tell me if you think HR will protect the company or protect the boss. All right, let's get back into it. Wednesday came fast. I arrived early with my folder and a sealed envelope copy, just in case. Maya texted me at 8:12. I wrote a statement. I told the truth. I'm shaking, but I did it. I answered, "You did the right thing. Stick to facts." At 10 a.m., I walked into the top floor boardroom. Evelyn Markham sat at the head of the table, calm, hands folded. Graham Kelleher, head of people, sat to her right, neat suit, serious mouth. Niev sat with her notes. Saoirse had a thick file and her laptop open. Declan laid printed network logs in front of him. Calvin arrived last, coffee in hand, smiling like it was a normal meeting. "Big crowd," Calvin joked. "I hope this doesn't slow our momentum." Evelyn didn't smile. "Sit down, Calvin." Graham spoke first. "This is a formal fact-finding meeting. No interruptions. Answer the questions." Calvin nodded, still acting calm. Saoirse started with a timeline. She showed when Brightbridge was added as a vendor. She showed what documents were missing. Then she opened a payment screen print and circled the bank name. Rourke Holdings Limited. Calvin scoffed. "Still on that typo?" Saoirse didn't react. "This is not a typo if it repeats on multiple forms. Wisitation, all, and." She clicked to the next page. It was a company registry printout. Saoirse read it out loud. Rourke Holdings Limited. Directors, Calvin Rourke. The room went quiet. So quiet I could hear the air unit. Calvin's smile cracked. "That company is old," he said. "It's dormant." Evelyn leaned forward. "Answer clearly. Are you a director of that company?" Calvin swallowed. "Yes." Graham wrote something down. Saoirse asked the question in a flat voice. "Why is a vendor payment request linked to a company you direct?" Calvin's eyes jumped to me, then back. "It's being twisted," he said. "Brightbridge is a partner. Rourke Holdings is just admin." Declan slid a page forward. "These are the billing details on the request. They match Rourke Holdings' bank account." Calvin shook his head fast. "No, someone copied the wrong template." Saoirse lifted another printout, then explained this. It was an email chain from 2 weeks earlier. Calvin had emailed procurement the correct billing details for Brightbridge. The attached sheet listed Rourke Holdings Limited and the same bank account number. Calvin's signature sat at the bottom. Graham finally looked up and asked one simple question. "Calvin, why did you send billing details that route company payments into a business you control?" No one laughed. No one moved. Calvin stared at the paper like it was a trap, because it was. He tried to smile. "This is a misunderstanding," he said. Evelyn's voice stayed calm. "Explain it." Calvin's voice rose. "I was planning to subcontract parts of the rollout through my company. It saves money." Graham's pen stopped. "Did you disclose that conflict?" Calvin blinked. "It's not a conflict. It's efficiency. Sirsa said it is a conflict if you profit without disclosure." Then Niam spoke. "Calvin, did you instruct staff to skip security review?" Calvin leaned back, angry now. "No. Adrian is dramatic." Declan pointed at the logs. "Someone plugged Bright Bridge units into Warehouse 2 on Friday night. Your badge was used at the door at 11:02 p.m. Calvin's face drained. "I was checking progress," he stammered. Declan didn't blink. "You introduced devices to the network before approval. That is a breach." Evelyn turned to me. "Adrian, you said you were mocked for asking questions. Do you have proof of the intimidation?" I slid my notes and email trail forward. Niam read the call notes and looked at Calvin. "Did you say, 'Do you want a future here?' to stop him from escalating concerns?" Calvin's eyes flashed. "I was coaching him." Graham's voice was firm. "That is intimidation." Sirsa opened a new document. Maya Sweeney submitted a statement, she said. She read it aloud. Maya saw Bright Bridge boxes in Calvin's office. Maya heard Calvin joke about IT being paranoid. Maya said Calvin asked her to write a statement against me. When Sirsa finished, Calvin's eyes darted around the table like he was searching for a friend. No one came. Calvin pointed at me. "He wants my job," he snapped. "He's jealous." Evelyn's face stayed blank. "This is not about jealousy. This is about ethics and risk." Calvin slammed his coffee cup down too hard. "You're calling me a thief?" Graham answered, quiet but sharp. "We are calling this an undisclosed self-dealing vendor path. That is serious." Calvin stood up. "This company needs leaders, not babysitters." Evelyn stood too, and the room changed. "Calvin Rourke," she said, "you are suspended effective immediately. You will hand in your badge and laptop today. You will not contact staff while the investigation continues. HR will walk you out." Calvin's mouth opened, but nothing came. He turned to me with pure hate. "You ruined me," he whispered. I kept my voice low. "You did that when you chose greed." Graham and Niam escorted him to the door. Calvin tried one last threat at Evelyn. "I'll go to the board. I'll say you hate growth." Evelyn didn't blink. "Then I will show them your email sending payments to your own company." The door shut. My hands were shaking under the table, but I felt lighter than I had in weeks. Afterward, Evelyn asked me to stay. Graham stayed too. Evelyn's tone softened. "Adrian, you did the right thing." "It didn't feel brave," I admitted. "It felt terrifying." Graham nodded. "That's what doing the right thing often feels like." Evelyn leaned in. "Your notes and screenshots gave us a clean path. Without them, this could have dragged on." I asked, "What happens now?" Graham answered, "Audit will finish. If fraud is confirmed, we involve external authorities. Also, you are protected from retaliation. If anyone tries, they answer to me." By Thursday morning, Calvin's name was gone from the org chart. An all-staff email said he was no longer with Heroin Lane. No details, but the office understood. Owen stopped joking and started avoiding my desk. A week later, audit confirmed Calvin rushed invoices and the devices pinged an unapproved server. So the pause saved us today. 2 weeks after that, Evelyn called me into her office. She offered me a new role, compliance operations lead. It came with a raise, a small team, and real power to stop risky rollouts. I accepted because I did not want another Calvin to grow in the dark. Maya visited my desk later with a shaky smile. "I thought I would throw up when I wrote my statement," she said. "You were brave," I told her. She shook her head. "You started it." "No," I said. "Calvin started it. We ended it." 3 months later, I attended a logistics conference at the convention center. During the coffee break, I saw Calvin near the back, wearing the same suit, but a tighter face. He spotted me and forced a smile. "So," he said, "you got what you wanted." I sipped my coffee. I got what was true. He scoffed. "Enjoy your hero act." "I'm not a hero," I said. "I'm an employee who refused to be bullied into silence." Calvin's eyes flickered, and for a second he looked tired. almost small. Then his pride returned. "People like you kill momentum," he muttered. I shrugged. Momentum without honesty is just a crash with a countdown. I walked away, and I did not look back. That is the part people don't understand. The real revenge was not the suspension. It was watching a man who used laughter as a weapon run out of places to hide. HR did not need to shout. They asked one clear question, and the truth answered for him. Lesson 1. Keep receipts. After any threat or public mockery, write the date, the words, and the witnesses. Save emails, screenshots, and files with timestamps. When my access was removed, my printed copies proved the truth. Practice this at work and at home when facts matter most, right away. Lesson 2. Ask smart questions early. One calm question about security stopped a risky rollout before it harmed customers and coworkers. If people laugh, stay steady, and use the right channel, like IT, security, audit, or HR. Courage is not shouting. It is refusing to be silent before it's late. Lesson 3. Abuse of power breaks fast when light hits it. HR's single question exposed the hidden conflict and ended Calvin's control. Now, share your opinion in the comments, tell where you're watching from, and subscribe. If you were me, what would you do?
Before you go, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next upload. Then head to the playlists section and binge the best episodes. Family revenge, boss revenge, courtroom twists, and quiet comeback stories. If this story hit you, share it with a friend who needs courage. See you in the next Truevenge Chronicles. Like the video to boost it in the algorithm and help more viewers find these emotional, suspense-filled revenge tales. Your support keeps this channel growing, week after week, story after story together. Goodbye.